we are here for episode 3. Whoa,
Wow.
I just heard an echo. Did you?
No,
Okay.
just on your side, Lissy.
Just me. Okay, hope it doesn't pick up. This is We Are Liars podcast, a Pretty Little Liars podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Michelle.
And we are discussing episode 3 titled My Name is Trouble. It aired June 28th, 2011, written by Oliver Goldstick and directed by Elodie Keene. In this episode, Spencer attempts to get Toby away from Jason. Lucas thinks Hanna has ulterior motives when she wants to help him with the yearbook. A delivers a fake letter to Emily's mom, and the girls spy on Melissa.
I love this episode.
You did?
I loved it. And I'm sad that we weren't together. We were remote tonight. Doesn't make a difference. You guys are still going to have your enjoyment from us. But I was hooting and hollering, Liz. Like, there were so many times I gasped. And I don't want to get ahead, but I just was obsessed with the Jenna Pottery thing. Like, I loved it. I loved it. And I gasped at one point, and my cat Moish got so startled and jumped off my lap. He's in here tonight, actually.
He's being a very good boy.
He's being a very good boy. But I really liked this episode.
I'm so happy. And next week, this whole Ren, Melissa, Ian thing is going to unravel so soon. So
I can't believe Ren is back.
Ren and Stimpy.
Jaw was on the floor. Jaw was on the floor.
Forewarning, obviously, if you watch this on Hulu, apparently the recap showed something with Ren. We watch on Max, so we didn't have anything spoiled. Also, there wasn't even a previously on this week, but those who watched on Hulu said there was a tiny bit of a spoiler because they referenced Ren, which we haven't seen in so long. So people are like, "What the hell is with that?"
Is it the same actor?
Yeah, same guy.
Imagine if we got new Ren.
Just like new Jason. You just Jason's back. And you're like, wait, that's not the same person.
New Ren.
No, but we will talk about Ren. I firstly just wanted to shout out, thank you for you peeps who have been listening for the past 3 weeks. We see you, we love you. And to keep the love fest going, we thought we'd read our last review so far. So if you would be so kind as to write a new review so we could read it next week, we'd really appreciate it. But Michelle's going to start us off with a bang this episode.
Thank you so much. This is from Elizabeth 81890. I'm not lying about 5 stars. I found Talking Texas Forever through The Lonely Boys and was patiently catching up so I could start We Are Liars. I've seen most of the series but fell off towards the end. This is definitely one of the more ridiculous and crazy of the teen dramas. I'm excited to rewatch with you and discover who is A. Oh my gosh.
You think you know things, Michelle, but you have no idea.
It's true. It's a secret I'll never tell. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. But the fact that seen most of the series but then fell off
and still doesn't know who A is.
Oh my God, Elizabeth, you didn't Google? That would have been the first thing I would have done, or have someone tell me.
I feel, and as I've teased to you, even if you Googled it, I think you still have to really search.
It would have been wait,
it's so convoluted. No, it's so convoluted.
Right, as you keep telling me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But thank you so much, Elizabeth. And
thank you.
Like Liz said, rate 5 stars, leave us a review.
Yeah.
Please.
And you can even leave us a voicemail like you've just heard in the top of the episode. How sweet was that from Manella?
Oh my God, so sweet. And she's been with us since the Tree Hill Talk days.
I know, and this is the first we're hearing. So that just means so much. We really appreciate it. If you haven't heard, I'm sure you have, but we have a new phone number. The phone number is 631-600-3916. If you have a special little love note for us, if you want to leave us a question, a review, anything you'd like, you can leave it on our voicemail and we will play it because it's so sweet.
Thank you.
We also have a new patron.
We do. Hello, Megan.
Megan, welcome.
Welcome
to
the Total
brought you
Babe.
To the network.
Yes, please do. Welcome so much. Welcome so much.
We are welcome, but we're welcome you so much.
I know. I just wanted to say we're so glad you're part of the Total Betty fam, is what I was trying to get at.
You got it. You
Thank
finally
you.
got it. We're
Thank
good.
you. Yeah, we're good.
All right, let's start off with our mastermind Spencer. She starts this episode having a nightmare, which it's like in a movie, the movie theater with old movies, and she's awoken to Melissa, who is desperately searching. She can't find her wedding ring because she took it
Mm.
off. Her fingers are swollen because of pregnancy, like the thing all women go through, right? And at this point, she sees that Melissa's phone is on the table. So she kind of tries to sneak to see if she can see if anyone's been texting. And Melissa's very much on high alert. She's like, excuse you. Then at school, we have Tobifer. He's back again, even though he says last time was his last time at school, but he's still
I
getting
know.
paperwork for his GED. And he tells Spencer he's so excited because he got a job. And as I teased last week, this is with Jason.
Yeah.
As a carpenter, he's helping him do some stuff. Spencer is very, very hesitant because she's not comfortable with this. She doesn't really know what Jason's up to. She asks, please don't even go in the house because I don't know what's in there. And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
I won't go in the house. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I know. Well, like even last week, I was like, I would like, and I felt this way throughout this episode. He can get on the inside. He's the
Yeah,
intel. Let him
I
go in that
know.
house. Let him go in that house. Because
Right.
Toby wouldn't lie. Toby would definitely be like, oh, something's not right. Like, I don't know. I felt weird about this, but,
I
you
know.
know,
And there's a part of me that obviously, like, while I know it happens, it's very foreign to me still, but it seems like Jason's not very mean to Toby. You know, he seems like he
not at
respects him.
all.
He kind of understands, like, oh, people talk about you. You're misunderstood. Like, I get that. Also, like, please know, like, I never thought you killed my sister. Like, I've always thought
Right.
that you were, an okay guy, I guess. And so I feel like
Right.
they have a nice relationship.
I know, and I also thought it was very interesting, like the tonal shift with Spencer around Toby around Jason. Jason was like a lot nicer to Spencer.
With Toby around.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
without
Yeah.
Toby being around. So that was interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, the whole purpose of Toby taking this job is because he needs to buy some supplies and a truck like ASAP because he was offered a job and the only way he could do it is to have his own truck. And so Spencer understands that, but she obviously wishes he wasn't working with Jason. And like we have this really awkward moment where Jason's like, "Who is that? Is that Melissa?" And Spencer's like, "Why would you think I'm Melissa?" And he says, "Well, she's
Yeah.
been coming around a lot because you guys keep getting my mail." And everyone in the chat is like, "Jason's such a bad liar." And I was like, "I don't know, I believed it."
I believed it too. It makes sense to me.
Right? I was like, "I don't know, I believe it. They're next door neighbors."
I felt like he gave that, like he didn't stumble or anything.
Right. I mean, and now to go back to like my confusion last week, in this episode, it's very clear that the Hastings and the De Laurentiis' house are across, like next to each other. But then I'm assuming maybe Emily's is across the street,
That's what I
right?
was thinking too. I was
And
going to talk
Arya
about
is the
this
whole
again.
mystery. We don't know where
Right.
Arya is.
And Hanna is
Oh,
somewhere.
right. And Hanna is
Right,
somewhere
her.
else. Maybe her and Hanna are close house
Maybe.
distance or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So after all that, Spencer heads home to see Melissa and kind of tells her, like, I know you know what I mean. I'm scared. Kind of saying, like, I know Ian could still be out there. This is freaking me out. I don't want to have to say it, but I would really love some protection from my sister. And she brings up a story about how she was bullied and how Melissa had her back in the day. And Melissa really just does not want to talk to Spencer. It's very
I
heartbreaking.
was not into this at all, and especially Melissa who's pregnant and you're about to be a mother, your maternal side was not showing
No,
at all.
not at
And
all.
and I wanted to talk to you about this too. I noted this in the chat when this part happened. We do a live chat, by the way.
Yes,
If you
we
want to
do
join our
on
Patreon, that's a
Discord.
perk. Mike said, what if Spencer's lying and she's delusional? And I was like, why would this sounds pretty traumatic. Like, why would Spencer lie about something like this? And then I'm like, should I be thinking about Spencer differently? like, does this ever come out again? I guess you wouldn't tell me because that might be a spoiler, but I just found that I don't know, like, why would she lie about something like this?
Right. And then also all of the other girls are on the defense of Spencer. They're saying
Right.
we were there, we saw what we saw, and while they weren't there for that one moment where Spencer and Ian were alone, they do believe what happened. I mean, they were on the phone with her. So like people can back this up as as far as maybe like
No, but why would
you know
Spencer lie about a childhood memory?
oh, that memory.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have
Oh.
specified. No, and maybe I took that wrong in the chat of when Mike was talking, but like she tells this whole story of how
Yes.
when she
It's
was bullied and Melissa stood up. Why would Spencer lie about that memory?
right. I think Melissa obviously remembers it and just doesn't want to get into it,
I
or
agree.
Melissa doesn't remember it and also doesn't want to get into it. Like it didn't
Right.
seem like that far-fetched of a story,
It didn't.
for a
And it
sibling to
sounds
defend. And
right. And it sounds traumatic. And also, like, not for nothing, Melissa, someone did break into the house. Like,
right.
support your sister. Don't you two want to be together? Also, and I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, and I'm sure you
No,
want to
it's
move on
good.
with the
No, I
summary.
don't.
We discover at the end that the Hastings have this fancy ass large gate.
I know. I've never noticed that before.
So you're telling me that every time A is just jumping that fence, like
I
just,
guess.
and you have this
Or
gate,
has a
and it,
passcode. Does it have a passcode?
even if it has a passcode, couldn't we look at the log of like how many times it's being,
Mm,
punched in? And there's no cameras? If you have a gate like this and a passcode, we have no whatever, I will let
yeah,
it go, but
totally.
wild.
Yes. Yes, it is. So after this conversation, it kind of ends where Melissa says to Spencer, like, please don't make me choose over you or my husband, which is really awful.
Mm-hmm.
Just fighting words,
Mm-hmm.
because there should be no. That's how Spencer was just like, need your protection and help because you're my sister and you're my blood and my family from someone who tried to hurt me. And
Yep.
Melissa really doesn't see it that way. And that's really unfortunate for her. Spencer then, as we said, sees Jason taping newspaper over the window upstairs to keep people from seeing in, or maybe from people seeing out. Who
How about
knows?
you just get blinds?
Right? What do we have to be so specific with the newspaper?
Yeah, it's
I
really
don't
weird.
know if it's like, I don't really remember. So is this for like renovation purposes? Like maybe you don't want to scratch the window? Like I don't really remember exactly what the purpose of this was, but it
Yeah.
seems like it's very fishy and he doesn't want people looking in.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We
Mm-hmm.
then get a flashback, which I felt was a very important one, even though I don't remember it. But now I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe something happened there where Spencer and Emily are having a little sleepover and Allie's runs over from next door because Jason's having this party and everyone there is obnoxious. And she's telling them how, Jason wants to be in his grandmother's will. And if she said one word, she would definitely take him out, and kind of alludes to the fact that something maybe happened to her because she was the only girl there, and she was like very specific, and yes, I was the only girl there, of course I was. So it seems to me like someone was very inappropriate with her, and she breaks down, obviously not letting anyone see this, but the girls are very in tune, and she kind of snaps out of it real quick and says like, oh, I'm just upset about my grandma. And Spencer recalls that night, and she's like,
Yeah.
I wonder what happened. Like, did Jason do something to her? Did someone do something to her?
I feel like this was the first time in a flashback we saw Allie be so uncomfortable and vulnerable
Yep.
and break down.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me really sad of really what happened. What did these boys do to you?
Yeah.
Or boy or group or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What happened? It was really upsetting actually to watch.
Yeah. Kate had sent an email about how she never really like clock this scene and how
Mm.
important it is. She didn't remember it was so dark and disturbing, which I was like, you're right. Like
Mm.
there's so many flashbacks that it's hard to remember them all, obviously, and
Yeah.
what's important
Yeah.
to storyline you remember, but other
Right.
things like this doesn't necessarily have to be. It just could just show that there was a lot of trouble going on in her house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Spencer ends up then finding her sister's wedding ring behind the toaster. A very freshly cleaned countertop, I felt. Said if the cleaning people were there, they obviously would have found the ring. So that's suspicious to me,
Very
you know?
suspicious. Very suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She decides not to give it back to her sister, but to go to a pawn shop to trade it for some cash. And at first I'm like, what is she doing this for? But then she gets the truck that Toby needs with the cash. And Kathleen had asked, did you ever do something like a grand gesture in the expense of someone else? Like in this scenario, obviously it's Melissa, but someone's doing something for Toby. No, I can't say
No.
that I've ever done
No.
anything
And
like this.
especially as a teenager.
No, of course not. And
No.
her going to this pawn shop and the guy's like very suspicious of her. I'm like, doesn't she look like a child to you? I mean, to me she doesn't because I know that she's older as an actress. Like I know that she's older. So it's hard for me to put her as 17 or 16, but to the guy in real life, he should be like, why would you have a huge diamond and
And
wedding
he
ring?
is, but he's still like, well, I'm going to make my coin
Right, I got to
anyway.
get
I
my
can like
money.
resell this,
Yeah.
whatever.
Mike wants to know, have
Yeah.
we ever gone to a pawn shop?
Um, yeah, to browse. I've never
Oh, you
actually
have?
gone it.
You've never
Yeah.
like sold and done a
No.
trade. I don't think I've
No.
ever been into a pawn shop, nor have I traded something. And the
Yeah.
concept is
Yeah.
so like confusing. I mean, it's not confusing because you're like borrowing essentially. Like, here, I'll get the money now and then I'll come back for it. Right? Isn't that what it is?
I mean, that's what it on to be honest with you, I honestly just thought it's like, here, I'm tell me how much this is worth.
Worth, yeah.
I'm gonna sell it to you and get the money and leave it. The whole like this whole
Coming
Spencer
back
doing and she'll
for
be
it.
back on Monday.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand that, to be
And he's like,
honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah, sure you will. And then, of course, later
Right.
on, A gets the ring and he's like, I knew it was stolen. Something suspicious about it. But then she gives Toby his present. And this scene, he is so happy, obviously, and doesn't question where she got the money from to buy this truck. Like, hey, you take your parents' money? I don't really think I'm comfortable with that, but whatever.
I know this is sweet
Mm,
and they exchange I love yous.
yeah.
I can't get on board. This to me is way too ridiculous and over the top that I'm not sold, even though I really liked Hobifer.
The truck situation is over the
Yeah.
top.
The yes. The
I totally get that. Yeah.
way it's
Yeah, it
so
kind of ruins it a little bit because it's so crazy.
yeah. Yeah. I'm accepting it, but
Right.
it didn't
I
like make
mean,
me go, "Oh my
seeing them
god."
two is very sweet.
It
Very
is.
sweet. But
It's
knowing the
very sweet.
circumstance, you're like, it could have been better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Mm.
our last scene with the Hastings, Spencer, overhears Melissa say something like, oh, well, when she's asleep, I'll come meet you, park down the block. And so we see Melissa go to a vehicle out in the street, and the girls run behind her to, try and catch a look. And wouldn't you know, it's Mr. Wren. Like, did not see that coming. I totally forgot that this was a thing.
I am shocked. Shocked. And
Yes.
so Mr.
Well, I
Wren,
remember I told you he wasn't on the island.
right. But like I just was not a whatever. Mr. Wren is giving Melissa drugs?
Well, we
Like
don't know.
prescription drugs.
He's giving her a brown bag of something. Spencer makes the kind of initiation of like, I think it could be drugs to give to Ian
But like
because
weird.
obviously he was hanging by his neck. He must have some sort of, awful infection.
Yeah. Can you
Or
remind me
it's
what
for her because she's a grieving, mother or something, Well, I guess she
would you have to
wouldn't if she
be
was pregnant.
right? You have to be careful with that. Ren, was he a nurse, doctor? Am I for?
Doctor.
And
Doctor.
I just totally forgot about that.
Well, he was in medical school. I think he was just wrapping up medical school. And then next week
Got
you'll
it.
see like he's either a resident or something, like he's
Okay.
a young doctor.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
On
Wow.
to
Wow.
Miss Anita, if you will. Anita over at Hollis College. She was so excited to tell the girls in the bathroom that she was going to Hollis. They were all like look at each other like pathetic.
Like just to take a course, just for
Just in case
funsies to
that,
spy.
well, to take a course to be closer to Ezra, and then Spencer's like, "Oh, so is Jackie teaching it?" Like, obviously, we know,
Right.
and Arya's like, "No, it's mostly to be near Ezra." Um, and then apparently, this story, I think I've seen in the past, like the pottery is from the third book. So this does happen in the books where Arya sees Jenna
Oh.
in a pottery class and befriends her under someone else's name, and I guess it happens this way. But in this class, like I just said, Jenna is taking the pottery class, and Arya tells Ezra at home, and Ezra's like pretty sensible about it. He's like, "Okay, so you guys have history, but maybe you can like patch things up, grow. You're outside of high school, but yet you're still very much in high school." He keeps pointing that out. She's like, "You keep saying that." I'm like, "Well, at least he's saying it. Doesn't
I
really
guess
make a
so. I
difference."
mean, I
Yeah.
guess.
But he tells her, he's like, "Maybe you guys can just make amends, befriend each other." But Arya doesn't go that route. She decides to, trick her and pretend to be someone else. And then at the end of class, I guess Jenna asks Anita to help her with her art. And she makes this pot vase, I guess, with kind of like little holes in it so that when you put a candle in it and you spin it around, the light shines and it's really cool. And Jenna opens up very much to Anita about what it's like to be blind and being able to see, and now she can, and she breaks down, and you see Arya crying because she's very much responsible for Jenna's blindness, to a point. And so she asks Arya, "Can you describe what you see?" And as Arya starts talking, Jenna's like, no, I know who you are." In the chat, people are like, "Oh, Jenna's working Arya so much." And I'm like, she does not know it's her.
I
And then
love
she found out.
this so much.
She's like, "Turn it off."
The whole build of it where she's like, "Come closer, light the candle. What do you see?" And I was like, this is so fun. This is why this show is fun to me right now. Because like
Mm-hmm.
we know what she doesn't know yet, or maybe she does. We're still
Yep.
like and the whole like Jenna first talking about how I thought she actually was playing her in the beginning
It would be
because
smart.
she's it would be smart, and her saying she could see like she could see
Also,
shadows,
I'm
and
pretty
then when
sure in the past she said she's noticed Arya's perfume. Did I make that
well, I
up?
was gonna say that, right? Like all of your other senses would be heightened. So I was like, either she's really effort. I kept going back and forth. She's playing her, she's not playing her, but then she gets very vulnerable. I'm like, she's got to smell her. You got to have a presence about her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And of course, her voice. Like, are you? Oh man, I
Right. Like,
loved it so
you
much. I
can't
loved it.
mistake Arya Montgomery's voice, and Jenna's so enraged, obviously, and she tells her to
Yeah.
get out. Um, Actually, Mike wants to know, have we ever taken a pottery class?
Yeah,
I
I took
did.
it as senior year of high school as one of my
You took it in high
courses.
school?
Yeah, because senior year I finished everything my credits, so I took all fun things, and one of them was pottery.
That is fun. I took it in college. I had a really nasty professor, but I did enjoy
Oh,
the class itself. It was much,
yeah.
much, much harder than I
Did you?
anticipated.
So I took pottery one, which was just working with clay. I didn't get on the wheel. Pottery 2
You
was
know,
the
I didn't do the
wheel.
wheel. We just did like our
Yeah.
own sculpting with the tools. I had
Yeah.
to like go down to like the village in Port Jeff and buy like a very specific like tool set for this class, which I'm like, I at this point obviously it was like early 2000, so like now you can order it on Amazon, I'm sure for cheaper. But at that point, they were like, no, you need to buy this specific like $100 kit for
Oh
this
my
fucking class.
gosh.
Yeah, and he was such a
Wow.
dick. I will not name his name because I'm not sure about his first name. So, but he was
Mm.
mean. And I remember the girl who did my hair at the time was like, I had him. He's such an asshole. And she tells me that at the end of the semester, like you had to, your final project was what you've been working on this whole time. And she's like, mine was amazing. It was beautiful. And then they get to bake it in the,
Yeah, the
oven.
kiln. The
And
kiln, yeah.
he burned hers and destroyed it. So he had to give her an A. And I was like, you mother. I
Oh
think I
my
ended up getting like a B minus or a C. And I worked my ass off and it was so hard. And he still would
god.
just like, I don't remember if there was tests. Like, how could there be tests in pottery?
Do you
Yeah,
remember what you made?
I did. It was pretty ugly. I don't know where it is. It was just
Oh.
like a vase that kind of
Yeah.
looked like that, like the outer
Yeah.
edges. Don't ask me why I chose that design. It was quite hard to do, but I guess at the time I thought it was going to be easy, and it was really
Yeah.
hard. Do you remember what you did?
Oh. Oh yeah. I made a bunch of bowls and then I made a Christmas platter with like a snowman landscape that I gave to my mom for Christmas and she still puts it out. I'm not really proud
Oh,
of like,
it's not your best
it
work.
looks it looks like a child made it, and but my mom still displays. She sent me actually a picture in her bedroom. She's like, I started decorating for the holidays, and it's it's a painting of two birds in a winter scene, and I probably did it when I was like, I don't know, 14. It's not bad, but it's also like, okay, this isn't great. She's like, I
That's
love
so
this so much. I'm
cute.
like, Mom, we got to get you a different
That's so sweet
look. Yeah, mom
that
sees
she kept
everything.
that and she hung it. She hangs it every
Oh yeah.
Christmas.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
love
yeah.
that. Britt wants to know at this point, do you think Jenna can see? Because you've toyed with it back and
I
forth with
know.
you think she
I
might. Sometimes you
know.
don't think she can. What do you think at this moment?
Yeah, well, like I said, this whole pottery class, I was like, oh, she's toying, she knows. But then she broke down. I actually believed her how vulnerable she got. And she
Yeah.
got super mad. I'm, I don't, I'm thinking, oh gosh, I don't know. Here, okay. When when she walked from her station over to, or maybe she was, I don't know where Jenna was walking from, but she walked over to her station or the display where she was like, I need you to clean everything off.
Yeah.
She got there with no issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty
So
effortless.
yeah, that might be a mistake on the writers. We're not supposed to pay attention to that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say she can see a little bit.
Okay. You heard it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last part with Ezra and Arya is, they're so excited to meet up in public. And then it's like they forgot they were in public and they kiss each other. And of course, Jackie sees.
Yeah.
Out of all
Of,
people. Out of all
oh,
people.
how convenient, Jackie,
Mm-hmm.
to be there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
More on that
I just
next
keep
time.
thinking, like when Ezra goes out with his colleagues and everyone's like bringing their partner, and then oh, I'm sorry, mine can't get into the bar. Oh, mine's in high school.
Yeah, I just don't think anyone knows besides his friend Hardy.
Right? But like I'm thinking like future wise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there'll be for this season. It's a lot of like, now that you're not my teacher, what's gonna happen? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Gross.
yeah.
Gross.
Okay, over to Hannah, who I feel like she's struggling the most being without the girls. Like she
You
seems
think?
to. Yeah, well, I mean, she's going back to her old ways and she's shoplifting with
Oh,
Mona, and
yeah.
her dad, of course, is not making it any better because he's still in town. And Ashley's like kind of warming up to the idea. She's even buying his favorite dairy-free creamer. And Hannah's no
Mm-mm.
fool. She's like, Mom, I don't like what's happening here. And Ashley's like, people, can grow and can change. Just give your dad a chance. He is trying. And then Tom admits later on to Hannah that things between him and his fiance are like not so great right now. And Hannah's like not really upset. She's like, whatever. I don't really want to talk about it. And then she sees her parents laughing and having a good time, and she's like getting this glimmer of hope that maybe they can work things out. And so when Isabel, the fiance, texts Tom to apologize, Hannah deletes it. Yeah, girl.
Hannah. She's so spicy in this episode.
She's loving all of the drama. She's like, yes, Emily, be a bad girl. Like, sh- Hannah's being the devil. She's being the devil.
I know.
Yeah.
That text, though, how did you take that? Because you would think she'd want her dad out of the house, but then she sees like her dad and her mom having a moment.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it was, I don't know if it was a surprise when her parents got divorced for her. Like, I don't know what her house was like, a
Yeah.
year or two from now, a year or two, prior to now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if she like thought this was abrupt and she wasn't obviously mentally prepared for it. I don't know, like, obviously she did at one point have a relationship with her dad, and then he moved out and told her he would be there for her but kind of doesn't really make do of that promise.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
then at the end of the day it's always like, well, you want your parents together, right?
Right. Isn't that? And if they're
But not
getting
if they're
along,
toxic,
right. But if they're having moments and you see like a glimmer of hope, I can
hmm
imagine getting swept up in that.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Also in this episode, Hannah is eating alone, and Lucas, who is roomies with Caleb these days, which we didn't see him this week, but we'll see him next week.
I love that he took him in and his parents
I
are letting Caleb
know.
stay there. Is
I
Caleb in
know.
school? Where is he?
Guess maybe he's just like not around. I guess I couldn't, didn't want to
Yeah.
utilize him this
Sure.
episode, but
Sure.
he is going to school. And Lucas tells Hannah, like, I'd love to hang out with you, but like I got a lot of stuff to do. I gotta go to yearbook. And he's like, feels badly. So he says, you should come and help out. And so she does come, and she notices that Lucas is crushing on this girl named Danielle. And he's like, she doesn't even know my name. She doesn't know I exist. So Hannah goes over, and to make him seem more desirable, she like tells her that, Lucas is this really good photographer and like she's got a crush on him, or she had a crush on him.
Yeah, and
I'm
like
like,
the entire
does
11th
this
grade
ever
did.
work?
I know. I was wondering, it's just so cliche that we see in TV. Like, he has a wild side. I wanted to be with him, but he turned me down.
Right. It's so cliche for a teen trope, but also this I feel like would never work in the real life. Like,
No.
this would not make me want someone more if a girl's coming over and telling me how like,
I know.
he's you can't catch him basically,
You can't catch him.
you know?
Right. Yeah, no.
Okay, lastly, we have to talk about Emily, who, as we know, is still so desperate to stay in Rosewood. And she contemplates writing a letter from the scout to show her mother. She's got, like I said, Devil Hannah on one side and like Angel Arya on the other. And Hannah's like, do it. And Arya's like, don't do it. It's not a good idea to lie to your parents. Like, Arya knows firsthand if, you keep stuff from your parents. So Emily does write the letter, but she chooses not to send it. She immediately rips it up and puts it in the garbage can. And then we have a really sweet moment between her and Pam where Pam's like reminiscing about her childhood. And she brings bed down a box of Emily's like baby clothes and stuff, and just breaks down and says to Emily, like, I can't imagine what you were going through. Like, you had to hide who you were. It was
Oh,
really special.
I love Pam in this episode so much. And also, it just seems like Pam is also not wanting to move
Right?
either.
I know she probably obviously misses her husband, wants to
Of
be near
course.
him, but like
Of
this is
course.
where Emily has grown up. Her
Yeah.
height chart was on the wall there. Her baby box is in this house. Like she grew up there. And so I'm sure that's really hard for Pam. It's obviously very hard for Emily,
Yeah.
and they just have a really sweet moment, and
So
Emily
sweet.
is feeling regret, but ultimately she doesn't regret anything until much later when Pam does get the letter that A must have like recopied and sent to her. And in the garbage is A's note of like, can't make fun of you if you're not in Rosewood, so you got to stick around.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, called that.
Kat wants to know, what do you think Emily's plan is now that her parents think she's going to Danby? How will she get out of it? Will she go to Danby eventually?
I kind of feel that this is going to be one of those things where she's like, oh my God, I'll figure this out later, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not moving and I have to focus on other things. And then it's going to be uh, like oh, they changed their mind. I'm not actually going to Danby. And then
Right.
they'll be like,
So,
but you had the letter, but
mm-hmm.
obviously.
So it'll kind
Yeah.
of like work out, and Emily wouldn't really get that much in trouble,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really remember. I remember some things, but
Yeah.
not a lot about that. And I mean, that's my summary.
Your summary.
And I apologize for the Rosewood shop last week, which when we come back from break I will read, but Mike had clarified it was Churray. So stay tuned for my ice cream flavor. At this time, I would love to share with you the Rosewood Shop, which is sent in by listener and patron Michael. He pairs an ice cream flavor with the episode at hand. This is a tradition we started back in Let's Talk OC days. So if you're familiar, that's where it came from. And he was so gracious as to send us emails for this podcast. So even though I butcher the flavor names. But this week he said he did an easy one because, he felt my pain. So it's a Haagen-Dazs mango raspberry,
Oh,
which delish. Delish, delish.
delish. Delish.
He said mango ice cream with swirls of red raspberry. The swirls of red represent the redness on the liars' faces due to embarrassment or anger. Emily is a little red in the face after A stole her fake letter and sent it to her house. Arya, or should I say Anita, is a little embarrassed for lying about her name, as if Jenna wouldn't recognize her voice. However, no one's face is going to be redder than Spencer's once she finds out the ring is gone. The mango is a good touch for this episode because it represents Ezra, who got a new job. So why doesn't the man go away? Oh my god, I love it. The mango away. He should go away.
Oh, that's so good.
He
Thank you,
wasn't as
Mike.
triggering in this
No,
episode, but
no.
yeah. I mean, not that.
Wait,
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Hmm.
What did you mean by like at least he showers and she doesn't? It's icky.
I just meant like it was weird that like Ezra was the only one that had showered. Not that Arya is like stinky or icky that way. I just meant like I don't know, like when you're in a relationship, like it's not usually one person that's showering. You know what I mean? So it's like it was obvious. It was obvious to me that they were making it to show like, oh, these people have not slept together to me. Like Ezra had a shower, he got all like relaxed for bed, and Arya's like very much still in her clothes. Like it just was weird. Am I
I,
the only
I
one that thought that way? Like they didn't
well,
shower together kind of thing?
well, yes, but I also thought it was just weird to show him showered.
Yes, it was a weird choice. It
Why
was
did
not
we
that's what
do
I mean.
that?
Like it just why did we choose this? Why did we choose it?
Right.
You
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
I think that's the real for this week. Ezra in the towel. Yeah, I just thought it was a weird choice, and not that that Arya smelled or anything. I just thought it was weird that she was like fully clothed and he had just come out of the shower.
Yeah. No, it's
Anyway,
strange. It's strange.
yes. Who do you think your MVP was this week?
My MVP is Pam.
Yes, same.
I I loved her and the progress she's made, and she was just like really sweet.
Yes, agreed. I
Yeah.
almost
And
picked Lucas too because I felt
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
it was nice to see him like accept Hanna again in his
Mm-hmm.
life, and
Mm-hmm.
he felt bad for her, and also he's taken in Caleb.
Yeah. The
It's
taking in
cute.
Caleb. It's
I
so
know.
cute. It's so cute.
So cute. I said in the
So
chat,
cute.
Mike's like, it's been a minute since we've said so cute. If you're an OG, okay?
I mean, I say it in my daily.
Me
I
too.
just probably haven't said it on the pod in a
No,
while.
we haven't, but it's
Yeah.
so cute.
So cute.
What about shittiest?
Yeah, it's Melissa for me.
That's a great choice. I picked Hanna because I felt
Okay.
like she meddled a little too much. She
Mm-hmm.
was, she was playing the devil too much in this episode for me. But Melissa, totally.
Yeah, I mean, Melissa's up to her own whatever she's up to, but she didn't have to be so mean to Spencer, and I just
Right.
didn't like it. Like, why do you want to be in the barn by yourself?
Right.
Like, aren't you afraid? I'm sorry, you're pregnant. Your parents aren't around. Like,
I know their
safety in
parents,
numbers.
and like spoiler, like next week the parents are not around either. So it's like obviously the parents are just not around. So you only
Yeah,
have each other. It's just weird.
it's very weird.
Yeah. What would you give it on a cringe?
I wasn't really cringed out. I have to be honest with you.
Same. We're like
I'm
3 for 3 with this season.
Yeah, but even lower than last week, unless I'm forgetting something, I would say maybe like even a 1. Just
Yeah, I would
because
say
like
a 1.
Pretty Little Liars is cringe all the time.
Always.
But this was like a tinge of cringe. It was a tinge of cringe.
Oh my god, a tinge of cringe.
Tinge of cringe.
That's perfect.
Yeah, tinge of cringe.
Yeah, just a tinge.
Just a tinge. Yeah.
Do you have to mention, I feel like, let's appreciate the abs going on. I don't want to, like,
I know.
focus too much about it because, he's just a nice person and we don't need to sexualize him. But the abs were absolutely gorgeous and insane. And then you have Jason, which I'm like, what? The two men, you guys, what is happening? And like, I couldn't take it. I couldn't, in a good way.
Yeah, we can compliment.
Just good looking dudes.
Bravo to them.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking, well, poor Ian, who is Ezra, like, did he feel like he had to spray paint those abs on because he felt inferior? Obviously, we don't feel that way, but like, you get in your head about shit and you compare yourself to others, and like if you're walking around next to Toby, like
oh my goodness, he's cut from stone.
Cut. He literally is Edward Cullen, but like cut.
I know.
Like imagine laying on his cold ass body.
Someone came in and sculpted him. Like,
from
chiseled that beautiful marble stone. It's
hairless and gorgeous.
You know how I like them seals. No.
It's the smoother the better.
Smoother the better. Not to change subjects from complimenting the men on this show, but I did want to talk about, and I don't know if it's in the questions, and I meant to bring it up in our summary, but the blood.
Oh yeah.
The as you said, it was like period blood.
It looked like a period pad that just like
it did
rolled out on the grass, and he's like, haha, I cut myself. And I'm like, to me, it didn't seem like an absurd amount of blood to like question.
Same. It was just,
and I guess that's why I like forgot about it,
Right. And again, it wasn't like, and I think they did that on purpose. Like, oh, let's make him even look more suspicious. Yeah. A little bit of blood.
Agreed.
It's a cuticle tear. It's no big deal.
Right? It's just like, you got a paper cut. Like, to me, it didn't look all that bad, but, Jason's like, ugh. I know it looks
everything
bad, but
about him.
It's not bad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So we're going to get into the title for next week. I have a little secret.
Wow.
and we'll be done. I mean, we're going to be on to episode 4 again already, I
Wow.
should say, next week. So the title for
Yeah.
2-4 is Blind Dates. Okay. And my secret,
I've got a
on the theme of
secret.
dates, there is a double date next week, including Hanna and Caleb.
I literally got chills, y'all. Like, I'm such a nerd.
I
This is
wanted
what
to
I'm
give you some
living for.
positivity.
But blind
Okay, so predict
dates.
about that, and then we can go into some other stuff.
Okay, so I'm curious if Lucas sets them up. Like, hey, they have more talks while they're working on photography at the yearbook club. And either he stages like, hey, come hang out with me, or this includes Danielle. Danielle and Lucas go out with Hannah and Caleb,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a
Good
group
thoughts?
hang. A good
Group
old group
hang.
hang.
Good old Total Betty group hang.
So I think that's what's happening there. It's a group hang.
Yeah. What's happening with Spencer in the ring?
Well, that ring is showing up to Melissa. Whether she's going to find it in the barn, she's going to find it in an envelope sent to her, she's going to find it like underneath the couch cushion. It's being found 100%. I mean, A bought it and A will give it back.
Mm.
But then what's weird about that is nothing really bad happened from it. Like,
Well,
Spencer got it.
yes,
You know
but
what I'm saying?
the fact that Spencer pawned it is bad. So Melissa
Right.
knowing that her sister tried to pawn her
Right.
ring, that definitely
I'm,
has some repercussions.
of course, I'm just wondering how that will be, how Melissa will find out about
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right.
But I think Melissa 100% is getting the ring back. I don't know if it'll be with like I don't know how that will, but she's getting the ring back. And she will find out about Spencer. I'm just like curious how, because A wouldn't write a letter to Melissa. I don't, because as far as like, isn't A only kind of messing with the girls?
Yeah, but wouldn't, Spencer being on Melissa's bad side still mess with her?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. But Melissa would be like, I got this weird letter. I don't know. I don't think it's going to come in letter form. Someone's going to tell her, I saw your sister. I don't know how it's going to go down, but I can't
Yeah.
wait to find out. I'm very curious in these mysterious shadows in Ian's house.
In
Now,
Jason's house.
Jason's house, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Why do I keep saying Ian?
I don't know. Well, maybe because you thought it was Ian. Do you think it's Ian in the house? Do you think that Jason's keeping Ian in the house?
Um, as you're editing, you might hear me say Ian this past. I hope I wasn't saying Ian for
I
Jason
think
this
I
whole
would have
time.
clocked that.
Okay, well, in case you didn't want to interrupt me, I apologize.
No, I honestly don't think you said it, but I will pay
Okay.
attention.
Okay. No, I'm curious. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm curious of who the shadows. It's very interesting of like, or is that Jason's shadows? But sometimes I feel like we see Jason outside and then we see the shadows in the room. So I'm like, who else is in that house?
Ooh,
And I
sorry,
guess
had to yawn.
it'd be interesting if it
Right,
was
and Spencer's
Ian,
like,
but
"Oh, I didn't know you were living with someone." He's like, "I'm not," but
right.
she keeps
So
seeing
yeah,
people in
we all
the
see it. We all see
windows.
it. It's like, oh, it's my cousin from, Jersey visiting. Here's Brad.
Yep.
Brad
Brad.
DeLaurentis. Yeah.
That's a good name.
I know. I can't wait for cousin Brad to
Brad
show
De
up.
Laurentiis.
Brad DeLaurentis.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
What else
gosh,
do
a
you think
double
will happen
date.
next week? Anything else?
Well, I mean, Ezra and Arya. I wonder, can you answer me
Yeah, what's with the
this?
Jackie situation?
Is Arya over the pottery class? Was that a one and done?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. So that was just to establish that whole situation. And now that like Jenna has, I guess, something on her. Yeah. And Jackie. Maybe she'll say something to Ezra. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just more excited for this double date. I'm sorry, you should have never said that, 'cause like that's what I'm hyper focused on.
And that's okay, because
Yeah.
that's all we needed to hear
Yeah.
from your predictions. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
I
much.
think you'll be pleased with next week's
I think I
episode.
will too. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. TBD next week. We will see you then on blind dates. I don't think it's more than one, but I don't know why they called it blind dates. Oh, maybe like blind, like Jenna, but Jenna,
Right? Right.
you know,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for listening and downloading. And again, if you haven't wrote a review and you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider it. That would help us out so much. If you're interested in joining our little Patreon fam, the link is always in the bio for the episode. Come join us. You can Discord chat with us. On the first episodes of the month, we record live, so you can see us live. And it's a fun time. So join us.
Please. We're not like a cult. Join us.
No, we always say, like, join us, but not in a creepy way. We just want to have friendship hugs.
I
That's
know.
all.
That's it. It's just like a giant friendship group chat that you want to be a part of, because we have the best patrons ever.
The best ever.
Yeah.
All right. Until next week. See you later.